Welcome back, everybody, to the Multi-Battle Conference. This is our second piece of league content that we're putting out for this season. We have a few different things we're going to do in this video. Not just last one was just power rankings. This is kind of more of a variety show, perhaps. So, and with me, I'm not just by myself today. I have two very long-time MBC players with me. The Mediocre Mudkips. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hey, I'm Shannon. I'm now 1/3 of the Mediocre Mudkips.
Yeah, I'm Furat, and I'm also very happy to be here.
Excellent. So we got Shannon and Furat here to talk about a number of things. We're going to start off with some highlights, with which Shannon is going to be leading us on. She's going to be taking us through some of the stuff that's perhaps likely to show up on the new League TikTok account sometime during.
I figured out a new editing software.
Oh, okay. I have faith.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some highlights first from the first 3 weeks. It's gonna be kind of a top 5 list with some honorable mentions of the top highlights from the first 3 weeks of the season. We are recording this on Saturday of week 4, so we haven't seen the week 4 stuff quite yet. So we're just doing weeks 1 through 3. Then we're gonna talk about some of your guys' transactions, and then we'll finish off with a little a team interview with the Mudkips here. So, without further ado, let's get into the highlights. Shannon, what do you got for us?
Obviously we have to talk about Turtwig. So that's I love that kind of the use of the Terra Dark bite on Turtwig. It's not usually when people take E tiers, us included, we have Turtwig in the other league. Or on the other division, they're kind of, as we say, mascots. You don't really usually see them in use because they're an E tier for a reason. So to see someone utilize that bottom tier so well is just great, especially because if you can't tell by my profile picture, I'm a deep lover of Turtwig. He is my favorite Pokemon of all time, so to see him do well is great.
Yeah, I think there's something funny going on with the Turtwig line. At least with the first and third evolutions. Torterra got drafted in both divisions. That's pretty cool. And then yeah, this weird Turtwig shit. Somebody should get a Grotle out there and do some like stockpile shell armor stuff with Leech Seed or something. But but the Turtwig stuff was very cool in the meantime, and it was kind of comboed with that Terra Dark thing to counter the incoming Psy spam as well. So you get that counter there. You get the boost on the crunch. It even took like 1 or 2 KOs, I think. So yeah.
They were talking about how they wanted to get it on the leaderboard.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Furat, what did you think about the Turtwig?
Yeah, I think it's good play when you see like those ones which you are never expecting to make a show of, do stuff right. So it's also like a very big commitment to like bring such a mon that you have the confidence to bring like a mon and are sure about that you gonna do a good play with it. So
it's definitely a big risk.
That the team does good stuff with their ones.
I think especially in this, I think you could have done that more when the format was one match, but now that it's best of 3, I think those kind of surprising plays have just kind of gotten left by the wayside, disappointingly. Like having that kind of surprise factor in certain matches was always fun. But I think the consistency is great now, so.
Yeah, I like having a balance between the two. I think we're seeing a lot of that. So yeah, that's Turtwig. Shannon, number 4.
Yeah, the camera up sweep by the anti-Psy spam. With that just, wasn't it anti-Psy spam? Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Council, society. I think it was society.
Oh, was it? I can't.
I know.
When
I
you have
get
two
them
people,
mixed
I
up
just can't.
sometimes too.
I can't.
Why
But
did they do this to us?
I know. I was like, we now need this anti-spam collective.
There's an idea.
But or cooperative or corporation, I don't know. But it was just kind of that kind of the use of just kind of eruption, like that you generally see that more with Torkoal. So seeing from camera up is usually kind of a lower, is in a lower tier and is not as appreciated. Was great. I love to see. I think one of my favorite things about this league is that because it's tiered, you see Pokemon that you're never gonna see in actual VGC regulation, and kind of the power of people who are passionate about a certain Pokemon and know kind of it does have strength, and utilizing that there, and the kind of setup and confidence to do that.
Definitely, yeah. I also think that
There goes Winnie.
I also think it's cool to see a low tier Pokemon shine on their team specifically, because when I was doing power rankings with Dan, that was, being top heavy is one of the main concerns we had about those U tier compositions like that. So to see one of those C tiers on that top heavy team shine is very cool, and I think gives a little bit more credibility to their draft as well.
I would argue, this is my comment on your discussion of U tiers. I think it's actually less top heavy than you would expect, just because of the point values now. So I think using the C tier, or at least it's one of those things where I think that utilization of the C tiers, there's still things in the C tier you can use now, as opposed to some previous seasons or where U tiers were worth a lot more.
Yeah, true. All right, highlight number 3. What do we got?
Let me scroll back down to my list. The Nasty Plot Moltres. I always love watching Moltres. We had it a couple seasons ago, so I think it's fun watching it succeed. Where we failed, because it's one of those Pokemon where you very much need a team built to support that play. And so to see it succeed in that position, I think is great.
Definitely,
yeah. Did we use that?
Roll. What?
I can't remember. We're using that.
Yeah, we used it in the. I think it was in the experimental one.
Oh, that's
we used it with
maybe
Comfey. Yeah, we used it with.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Okay, that might be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been.
But it's hard to get it off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's especially in Gen 9 when we don't have access to Dynamax anymore, because that was such a massive strength for Moltres, so it's really cool to see it having success out here like that. I'm kind of seeing Moltres almost like a Tapu Fini-ish like Pokemon, legendary with big stats, and it can boost up and just sit there and take hits and deal a lot of damage after it's boosted up. It's not quite as bulky as Fini. You're not boosting your defenses, of course. Calm Mind versus Nasty Plot, but that's kind of the vibe that I got, and it felt really, really strong, and especially seeing the intrusive Nasty Plots live up to their name with that strat.
I think what it really helps at A is is the team they've built around it, with the Incineroar and the Tankuton to kind of really create those fake out options, Blissey to kind of be that bulky pivot option. I think having a good team to support Moltres is great. Also, they got it for a steal, to be honest.
Wait, are we talking about the Mega Skankuscons or intrusive Nasty Plots, or both?
Both.
All right.
But I mean, the intrusive Nasty Plots it's great. But I mean, I'm talking about like these teams. Both of them have it, but
yeah, I've seen that kind of play with both of those Moltreses too.
So sorry, I got confused for a sec. No, you're right. No, it's just like, I think having those teams to support, they got them for a steal. First of all, it being in B tier is insane to me.
I think it's an A tier.
It's 45 points, isn't it?
Yeah, that's A tier.
I got confused for a second. I forgot.
Still, honestly, like high value for A tier, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm so out of it. Sorry, I got out of my job like an hour ago.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's so like getting it. I mean, it feels like I think it was last season was an S tier, so it's kind of crazy to now get it as an A tier.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense moving it down a tier since Dynamax doesn't exist anymore, but it's still performing very well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it should be an S tier, but I think it's one of the better A tiers.
I think so, yeah. All right, number 2. Shannon, what do we got?
Wait, we're way past. Oh, we're doing in top 5s. I was just doing them. That's 1, 2. Oh, our Milotic was one of them. I do love having our Milotic back on the team. We were devastated when it was a part of Dexit. So kind of seeing it back around and getting to play with it again was great. So having us get to roll people again was great.
Yeah, tell us about the success that you've had with Milotic so far this season. What did you do? Who were you playing against? What happened?
So I think the most recent one was the Pixies. We were able to catch them off guard game 2, even though it wasn't Furat and I think that changed things a little. The usage of Milotic, the Avocados, I think also kind of was a fun match to do it with. I think it was game 2 or 3, where people kind of underestimate Milotic's potential, and we really did get those Hypnosis offs last game against the Pixies and kind of debilitate their team. If we had made some better plays, I think we really could have capitalized on it. But yeah, Milotic and its coil Hypnosis is back and better than ever.
So bulky too, the way you guys build it. It just takes hits for days. Furat, thoughts on your Milotic?
Yeah. So the main thing is also like it can like stay a long time on the field, so you get the time to get like the coil and stuff up usually. And I also think in like the multi battle in general that raising the stats of your mons is very strong, because then you can like try to get like one side down usually, or like in this case you get like to put everything to sleep. So being able to like buff yourself up is very strong in the league in general, I would say.
Absolutely. Shannon, any more thoughts on the Milotic before we move into our honorable mentions?
No, I mean, it's always been a secret star of our drafts, even from the first season, kind of just being it's why if you ever look at our videos, it's often named Old Reliable.
Old Reliable, very very apt name for what that mon has done for you guys in this league. All right, so let's before we get into the last major highlight here, we've got some honorable mentions, which we're not going to talk about in too much detail, but I just wanted to give a shout out to some teams for some of the cool stuff that they've been doing these past few weeks. Week 1, I think my favorite thing from week 1 was the Thunderous from the Devon Powers fan club. I thought that was just perfectly prepped for the matchup. You got Leer, which I think is underrated on a prankster Pokemon, and then you're not even prankster because you're trying to hit the dark type Ting Lu with the Leer. That was actually very clever. Taunt for the obvious opposing Trick Room mode. You got Knockoff and Fairy Terra Blast to hit the anti-Psy Spam Council's team with like basically perfect coverage, and a very strong defensive Terra. Just really love that Thunderous from them. Week 2, big shout out to the Pixies for flicking a move and losing game 2 when they could have just done nothing and won. But hey, they won their game 3 anyway, so no harm, no foul. Anti-Psy Spam Council, really love the coaching transform combo with the Mew and Deancey, really cool. Big shout out to Screamtail on the Nebby Backpackers team. I thought it was an extremely strong glue piece. In week 2 games 1 and 3, it really saved the day. at least once, maybe more, with its usual disruption, and also Howl was a really cool tech that they put on there to counteract opposing Intimidate, because their team does tend to be kind of weak physically. So that was a cool tool that I wasn't expecting to see come out that does shore up that weakness. 3 turns sleep. Big shout out for Gravity Hypnosis stuff, living up to their name. Love to see it. Also, like the Devon Powers fan club, Thunderous combos. Week 2, they were setting Rain for Poliwrath and Primarina, setting Electric Terrain for Iron Treads and Iron Thorns. That was really cool to see. And just a couple more shout-outs from Week 3. The game between the Strudel Bombs and Devon Powers fan club was really cool. Love to see that belly drum combo with the Poliwrath. We got a big double KO, and then the Strudel Bombs came out swinging with that Sinistra set Trick Room to counter that +6 Poliwrath, which ended up being really effective. Foxy Mousepads had a really cool game in Week 3. Really big upset, taking down the Nebby Backpackers. And I loved in Game 2 how they kind of set a surprise Trick Room as the Nebby Backpackers Kilowattrel was going for Tailwind. And that just put the Backpackers in a terrible position, and ended up leading to a pretty strong 2-0 win for the Foxy Mousepads that week. Platinum Pixies and their Solosis. Holy shit, talk about your E-tiers that are supposed to be doing nothing. Instead, this thing's walking around with a Magic Guard Life Orb and a Terra Fighting Terra Blast that worked. That was really cool. And then the last shout out I'll give to the Dirty 30s squad for bringing a Bright Powder Ditto and actually getting it to pay off with a miss. Enough said there. That was really cool. All right, so those are our honorable mentions. Shannon, what do you got for our last major highlight?
So I was really a fan of the Gyarados play with the what was it, Sunny Day, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so
cool.
It's so funny because the Cinnabons had been like, who was it? Yeah, it was the Cinnabons who were like they couldn't believe they got it for so cheap. And that so late in the game, and they had really touted its strength, and then to see it do that, just kind of the most odd set I've ever seen.
But it worked so well. It was so
I know.
And they have so much they have so much stuff on their team that benefits from Sun anyway, and it just they just give a big fucking middle finger to that Archaladon that was trying to charge up its Electro Shot. Man, that was awesome.
The Cinnabons are always known as kind of this just like crazy tactical team, and they've always been kind of one of the top teams in the league. So, I mean, it's no surprise that they have these crazy plays, but every time you're like, how do they do it?
They are definitely a team to watch out for.
Yeah.
Furat?
Yeah, I can agree. Like, those stuff which you would like never expect of are the most devastating to play against usually. So yeah. Also, I felt like in this league in general that a lot of people bring like stuff which you don't expect to see coming, and then like can lose you the game instantly because of that play, you know. So that's always good to have like something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so that should do it for our highlights. Thank you, Shannon, for putting together that list. Next, we're going to move on to some transaction analysis. So we just got done with our first round of transactions. Most teams made some kind of a change to their draft, so we're going to take a look at those and see what we think. Are they good changes? Or are we expecting to see more changes in the future? Let's see. So we're going to start here with the Violet division, your division, the Mediocre Mudkips division. You guys didn't make any trades, but yeah. But definitely going to be interesting to see what you guys think about the transactions of your past and future opponents. So first up, we have Sneeds of Ruin. These guys made one trade. They just swapped out that Mamoswine for the Inteleon. which I think is kind of a double-edged sword here. It's got some good, it's got some bad. Part of what I liked about the Mamoswine on this team is that it helped the team be a little bit less reliant on these special attackers. It was big, strong physical attacker, good offensive typing, which is even better with Terra because its defensive typing is garbage. And it's immune to Intimidate. It's good Mon. It's good in good value in B tier. But Inteleon brings some other stuff to the table that the team doesn't have otherwise. Having a fast offensive water type with Chi-Yu, I think, is going to be very strong. So it also provides some utility. It's kind of fast icy wind, maybe. There's definitely a bunch of stuff you could do with the Inteleon. So I think it's mostly good. But there is kind of a drawback in terms of that physical special split. I think that's the main issue here. But still, overall, a positive trade, I think. What do you guys think about this one?
I think to an extent it's one of those things where it seems like a good idea. I just do worry. Mamoswine obviously benefited a little bit from that Ninetales snow. Oh my god, versus ice now. So to kind of remove kind of one of the Pokemon who really benefits from that is an interesting choice as well. So I don't know. I think obviously Inteleon's a great Pokemon, but you also lose a little of the utility you got from Mamoswine.
Yeah.
So I think that it's actually a good trade because you can go for the Chi-Yu stuff more. So they go more the aggressive side now and try to utilize the Chi-Yu debuff, and also having it next to it, it covers a lot of types which Chi-Yu can't hit. So, for example, fire types, Inteleon can kill them, which Chi-Yu can't. It can also use a dark type move, but I just mean in general, you have more options to kill stuff, which you want with that team, I would say. But yeah, I also agree on what Shannon said. So you don't have the advantage of the hail too much in this team. I don't see for what the weather is now. So
I think the common theme I'm sensing among all of us here is you're losing out on some stuff by getting rid of Mamoswine, but what you're getting with Inteleon is probably a net gain. All right, moving on to the next team. Here we've got avocado allergy. Shannon is going to take this one.
They only did one trade as well with Skunk Tank for Reverum, which I think is a net positive, but I kind of would have wanted to see them go for another more offensive leaning Pokemon, where Reverum has that higher attack than Skunk Tank, but it still kind of leads into those defensive sets. What I really think this team really needs is a strong, another strong offensive piece other than Urshifu. Their team is very, very defensive leaning, and I think they really could have benefited from another offensive force, because when we played them, I noticed there were some matches where they wouldn't even bring Urshifu, and he's really their offensive piece. So kind of seeing the Skunk Tank trade is great. I think it is very much a much better choice in terms of you have that higher offense. You lose a little of your HP, but it's still pretty bulky and doesn't have that and has a lot of offensive pieces. But I just think maybe next time looking for something more substantial in terms of a trade.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't see them losing much by getting rid of Skuntank, so really not that big of a deal there. I will stick up for Reverum as an offensive piece a little bit, just because they do have decent redirection options here, and you can go for a shift gear. So that's not the most powerful thing in the world, but it's at least an offensive kind of mode and option that Skuntank does not provide you. So also, I think overall, not a huge trade, but like a net positive, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think I think I would have wanted them to actually kind of. I feel like Ogerpon here as a second S tier, and if you're gonna do the double S tier mode, I would have wanted something a little more offensive. Just in general for me. So I think that was what I was expecting this week. So to not see it, I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, gotcha. Furat, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I think the reverb room is a better typing also, like you get the steel type, but it's also like more, it's not gonna be like very much more an offensive team like for this change in general, but the thing is that they don't have, I feel like the issue is that they don't have a lot of stuff which they can like break through stuff besides the Urshifu. Of course, like you can like do a lot of stuff, but then if like you have resistance on the Urshifu, it's like harder for them like to get through the teams, to break them. And like the most teams with Terra, you can like prep for the Urshifu and go like water type and stuff, and then it's like pretty difficult for them to get like through those teams.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. The team could use a little bit more punch.
Yeah,
For sure. All right, moving on to our next team. We've got the Mega Skankascons. Let's see. This one is me, I believe. So, not a huge trade here. I think this is kind of this trade feels kind of similar to the avocado allergies trade, in that dropping Electros, you're not really losing much. You still have an low tier electric type on the team if you really need it. And tossing a Trick Room user on there, I think is a good idea. Even if it's low tier, C tier 15-point Girafarig. But Girafarig's not that bad with an Eviolite. It's got a decent defensive typing. You at least have something that can do some kind of Trick Room stuff now. I kind of wonder if there maybe might be a better Trick Room option in C tier, but maybe not. It is C tier after all. So not a lot to say here. It's a slight improvement, but not a huge deal. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. I think like the option for Trick Room is always great, but I think their team's kind of middling speed, so I don't know what you really gain there.
I think it might just be more for opposing Trick Room.
Yeah. I just mean it's always good to have a utility piece, but
yeah,
I don't think there's a huge shift with the Electros Girafarig.
Yep. Furat, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's good to get like such as low tier mon for speed control. Having Trick Room is always good to have on a team, so it can like help in good certain situations. So it's always good to get such a mon for like such a cheap price.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that like Dan and I talked about this a little bit in our power rankings video, but there are still some Pokemon on this team that can function in Trick Room if you're faced with some faster opponents, like Swampert and Incineroar, both base 60 speed, like with good enough offensive stats, like they could function in Trick Room to some degree. So I don't think it's useless for that either, but I do think it's probably mostly for some anti-Trick Room stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Next team, we've got the Anti-Psy-Spam Council. Furat, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So I think it's a good trade. I thought when we also made our draft plan that Articuno is a good mon to get in general because it offers Tailwind and Trick Room. So you have both speed controls in like one mon, which is pretty strong. And it's also good to have it next to like Tinglu and like press Earthquake without having to rely on the Bronze Song Levitate ability. So that's also pretty good. And it offers like both modes while also having the option to press like imprison stuff and shuts Trick Room off from the enemy. So I think it's a good trade.
Yeah, at first glance, I actually didn't like this trade. Mostly because I kind of felt like, well, Bronzong is really strong. Like, it's a good value for B tier. Typing is great. You don't have a steel type anymore, unfortunately. But the combo of Trick Room and Tailwind being able to do either one on Articuno is really cool. I think speed is something they don't have enough of, given that their team is they drafted hard Trick Room. And also Articuno, I'm hoping turns out to be significantly better than it was last gen. We saw like its counterpart Galarian Moltres dominate in Generation 8, and then is still coming up kind of strong here in MBC in Gen 9. So I'm wondering how the Articuno translates there, because we haven't. I don't think I've seen anybody use Galarian Articuno in Gen 9 VGC. So
Yeah.
I have no idea how it translates there, and I'm gonna be curious to see how it does. But I like the trade more after I look at it and think about it a little bit more. Shannon?
Yeah, I think it's a strong trade. I think Articuno is a good piece for his tier. Can we win? So I think this is a strong choice.
Absolutely.
I like that mon in general.
Yeah, it's just
So
cool. Like,
I might be biased a little bit, but yeah.
yeah, I mean the design is cool. I think even like mechanically, the competitive design is cool. With the I didn't even mean to say competitive there, but I like the ability. The ability is cool. A cool add to that Pokemon. Okay. Next up, we have the Platinum Pixies. Furat?
Yeah. So I do think that Conkeldurr is a very strong mon, and for the points you get it from. So when we also making our draft plan, we were considering taking it, but Shannon don't like the mon in general. So
It's ugly. It's ugly. I will not sit there and watch a ball sack in front of me.
But I think in like in terms of draft plan and like abilities, it's like very, very strong. So I think it's a very good piece to have in the team. And I also think because they have like good Trick Room mode, which with redirection and stuff, they will be fine without this slowing, because they have like still the Indeedee to get Trick Room out. But yeah, so maybe they might get trouble to get the Trick Room off now than before, because with the Slowking and the Indeedee together, you get like the Trick Room off pretty well. Which when we played against them, when I rewatched the video, I saw that they got the Trick Room off with Slowking and Indeedee pretty well. So that option goes off. But if they still are able to get the Trick Room off with Indeedee, they should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think so to me, the Shiftry Sceptile trade is just a pure upgrade, I think.
Yeah, Shiftry was a non-issue, I think. In general, Shiftry, as much as people like to say it's not as bad, it's not good.
It can be okay if you actually have some sun, but I'm not really seeing that here. You lose Fake Out by dropping Shiftery. I think that is kind of unfortunate because you at least want to have like one Fake Out on the team that kind of forces your opponents to prep for it, but it's also not a huge deal. Sceptile's just, I think, overall a better Pokemon, a better value for the tier. You still have your Grass type in that slot. You have an Unburden combo that you can use now. I'm a little bit more skeptical.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Sceptile, like, it's one of the fastest Pokemon just ever. I think. I think it's tied with Sneasler. I think they're both base 120, and then they both got Unburden. Like that's nuts. It's not quite like Excelgor level, but pretty close. So, and then the Slowking Conkeldurr one I like less. Not because Conkeldurr doesn't belong on the team. I think it's a good addition here, but because you're losing your main expanding force spammer here. These they might be thinking Solosis is going to do it for them. I get that you guys had a moment. It was pretty glorious. But it's also a Solosis, so like just.
It's also one of those things where you were able to catch someone by surprise. I don't know if you can do that for there's 6 more weeks?
Yeah, that's a fair point, just don't kid yourself about what Solosis is capable of. I wouldn't be surprised if it had another moment this season, but it's also a Solosis. Let's manage our expectations, all right?
Yeah, I think part of that danger for the team when we faced it was that Psyspam. So kind of to see them throw it by the wayside with this new team is an interesting choice.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I do think that they are gonna make another trade though.
Okay.
To fix the team more.
It seems likely, at least to maybe try to put a decent expanding force spammer back on the team. But maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's fair. This is maybe another team to look at for future trades. All right. Next team, we've got the Devon Powers fan club. Shannon?
So they also made only one trade where they swapped their low kicks for Colossal, which I think is very interesting. We had some great success with low kicks last season. He's much stronger than you would think. I can't say how good Colossal is in Scarlet and Violet, but I think it definitely is hurt without Dynamax, because it's obviously what is it, Steam Engine?
Yeah.
You can't. It's not as bulky now, so you're not going to be able to proc that as much without doing a lot of damage to yourself. I see where they're going to be able to do it with Primarina or Poliwrath as a kind of quick proc of it, and then with the weakness policy. But I do think, I think they're, in terms of, their team is very, in some extent, special attack heavy. In terms of attackings, in terms of attackers, you have Thundurus, you have Thwackey, but he's not really an offensive presence, and Iron Treads and Poliwrath. So, switching to another special attacker is an interesting choice.
I think you could use Colossal either way.
Yeah,
but
I think definitely I mean, low kicks is very, very frail, so I think they're probably going for a bit of a bulkier Pokemon, because a few of their Pokemon their team tends to kind of try and lean towards that bulkiness, so I see them kind of leaning more into it here, and having a better switch.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's in addition to adding that bulk, though, I think it also adds this other offensive mode that might even be stronger in prep than in battle. I don't really expect to see a lot of Colossal combos go off, but I do expect most opponents to respect the Colossal combo to some degree. You don't want to like kill yourself just trying to beat the Colossal and nothing else. It's just a little, it's not as strong as it used to be. But ignoring it completely is also a bad idea. So it forces prep. I think it's strong in that way. I could also see Latios going for a Surf next to Colossal. I'm also kind of wondering how Terra interacts with these steam engine combos that we would normally expect.
Yeah, I think, but if you do that Terra choice, you don't necessarily get your weakness policy. So I don't know. Maybe it's.
Well, depends on your combo. I mean, what you could maybe Terra into a grass type and hit yourself with a fire move. I don't see a lot of potential for that on this team, but it's just I'm just kind of thinking out loud about like what Colossal might look like in Gen 9.
My thought would be to Terra Water and keep that same Surf combo, but take so much less damage.
Yeah, or and in that case, like maybe you go for a Meteor Beam to boost yourself instead of the weakness policy, so you don't have to take a whole lot of damage. You can resist the Surf and get fast and get +1 with the Meteor Beam. I think there's a lot of potential for some cool combos here, and I don't think Lokix was doing that much. I think even if we like,
I think it's fragile, it's fun, but I don't think in our experience, Lokix was very situational.
Yeah. So I think it's a strong trade, even if it doesn't make it to battle most of the time. Furat, any thoughts on the Colossal?
Yeah, I think so. With Terra, it can be like pretty annoying because then you can like get the combo off. Even without weakness policy, it's kind of annoying to have it on the field then. And also, it can be like used for a defensive Terra where you get like the steam engine easier off by getting the opponent to like hit you with it and then like go Terra into something. So yeah, it can be good with the Terra stuff, I think.
Yeah, I'm also wondering how Terra might interact with non-steam engine sets. Maybe you just, I mean, it's got really good defensive stats. Maybe you just bulk it out with like a good defensive Terra and like Will-O-Wisp some stuff. Maybe you're not a sweeper at all. So I'm seeing a lot of good potential here, for sure. Okay, next up, we've got the Dirty 30 squad. And this would be me. Okay, Dirty 30 squad. All right. So Carbink and Toxapex for the Clodsire and Gliscor. Overall, I think this is good. One of my main complaints about this team was too much water during our power rankings. You got rid of a water type. That's good, while still keeping like reasonable water resists because you've got that Clodsire with water absorb. That's pretty cool. I am definitely skeptical of dropping the Carbink only because it's kind of like the new Farigiraf on the or a Girafarig rather on the Mega Skankus team. This kind of felt like a piece that could be used as an anti-Trick Room piece. Not, you're not really going to be sweeping in Trick Room yourself most of the time with this team. But Carbink at least provided a little bit of counterplay to opponents doing that. I'm very curious to see what the Clodsire and the Gliscor are going to add to the team. Gliscor, good defensive typing. I think it's good. I think they're both good value for C tier. It gives you a Tailwind option that's not just Pelipper. Clodsire is interesting. I know that Shannon has some more thoughts on the Clodsire there. So these trades I don't think are like terribly consequential. I don't really like the dropping of the Carbink, but at least we got a little bit more like type diversity in here, and we're looking to do some more interesting things with this team. I think overall it's probably a positive trade, especially getting rid of the Toxapex. Shannon, what do you think?
I mean, I personally like Clodsire as a Pokemon. I don't necessarily see it often in competitive play. It's very bulky, but in my experience, it kind of doesn't have a lot it can do in terms of offensive presence. It's so bulky, it just kind of sits around there firing off whatever it wants. And I think Gliscor is a fine. I think going double ground types is an interesting choice. But I think overall it's fine. You just traded a poison type for another poison type, and it just got your Gliscor there. So I think Gliscor is definitely an improvement, but I think they definitely had an improvement off their original team. I don't know how much of a change it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what these new Pokemon are gonna do here, but we will find out.
I can see Gliscor doing some Rock Slide spam, but
maybe, yeah. Furat, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think that's a positive trade for sure. I also think like the Clodsire with the Water Absorb is pretty good to like in rain in general, and also like if the opponent has a water move, you can like switch into it, so the opponent can't take advantage of the rain that you set, which is good. And also like Gliscor has a decent speed, which both of the mons were like pretty slow before, so now they have like another piece which is a little bit faster. And also their mons in general are not very fast in general, so having like a more faster mon on their side is better. And also I don't think Toxapex is that great in general, so yeah.
Yeah, especially
and they also had like 2 water types already, so
yeah. I was gonna say Toxapex, especially not that great in a format notorious for losing to Timer, because very very stally kind of Pokemon. All right. Moving on, we're going into the Scarlet division now. Only had 5 teams, I believe, make trades in the Scarlet division. We're going to start off with the Intrusive Nasty Plots. This ended up being a pretty big double trade. Furat, tell us about this one.
Oh yeah, so they did a very big switch there. So like, I do think that Arcanine is a pretty strong one in general, so it's very hard to like drop this one off. I think they also had like to think about it a lot before they did it. So yeah, so the issue now is that they don't have like a fire type now. So I'm not sure if this trade was that great on the first glance, but also Thunderous is a pretty strong one, of course, in general, and having this prankster stuff going off is good, because they don't have like a lot of fast ones, but they also have like the Meowstic. So I'm not sure if they like needed another one. Also like Glim for Corviknight. They already have a flying type, so I'm not sure. I don't think that this trade is good, I would say, in general.
I think
because like they don't need the Tailwind there with like a slow one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this trade's very interesting. I don't quite know what to make of it yet, because it does change the team so drastically. They do lose that fire type and the Intimidate. The Glimmora, they haven't really been using that much. I don't think it was something that was like integral to the team. Swapping that out for, even though it could still be strong on this team for sure, swapping it out for Corviknight kind of just gives you like a different, unique type of win condition. So I don't think, I think they're both fine. I don't think the Glimmora or Corviknight is like an upgrade or a downgrade. I'm more just curious about the direction that these guys are going in, because it feels like this is the first step in a multi-trade process. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah, I agree on this. Yeah, I think so. They want to like change their team in a big way in general. So this is just the beginning of this, because there are a lot of stuff which they have like double off like now, so they have like 2 prankster mons, they have 2 flying mons, 3 actually, and yeah, they don't have a fire type now, so I think they will do like more trades to fix certain stuff. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But I do think they are still getting a lot of value out of their A tiers. I still think, even though like they're losing important stuff, Thunderous and Corviknight are both very strong and valuable for the tier. Even though it's a little bit weird that they're like tripling up on flying types, but they're also not all sharing the same weaknesses, so I don't think it's too catastrophic, but I'm mostly just curious what they're gonna do, how this is gonna play out in battle, and what other trades they might make. Shannon, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it is rough that they lost their Intimidate. But I think they're definitely going to be looking to kind of replace those lost pieces now.
Indeed. All right, next up, we've got the Foxy Mouse Pads. So we've got Scizor and Rampardos dropped for the Drifblim and Gliscor. Overall, I think I like this. They definitely needed some more speed, even though they built kind of sort of like the anti-Psy-Spam Council, taking the Articuno. This team was built a little bit more for Trick Room, it feels like, even though there's some fast stuff like the Delphox and Urshifu and stuff. But I think it needed a little bit more in the way of speed. Drifblim is definitely going to be a better Tailwind setter than Scizor. Even though you are it's a little bit more restricted because you're kind of forced to position it next to the Indeedee, but you kind of want to do that anyway because so much of your team loves the Psychic Terrain. Gliscor is interesting. It kind of hits on some of the same notes as the Rock type Rampardos here, while also giving some more options. Ground is generally a better type than Rock, so I think that's good. You're still able to hit opposing fire types, right? You've got another Tailwind option here with the Gliscor if you want it. If you feel like you need to set Tailwind next to something that's not Indeedee. The only real drawback here, I think, is that you're losing a Steel type. Which is not great, but also not the end of the world. You can use Terra to shore that up, and this is not a team that really needs a Steel type anyway. Steel type is obviously nice to have for just about anybody, but I think it's probably not a huge deal to be dropping it here. So overall, good trades. I think. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good trade, for sure. I mean, you're missing that technician. It makes you, but instead you're getting that kind of Tailwind aspect and Unburden with Drifblim. So I think that's a strong choice.
Yeah. So I also think the Scizor, you want to play him with Bullet Punch in general. So and they have terrain, so it's difficult to play both of them because they're a little bit anti-synergy there. So maybe with this it's better. Also the Unburden stuff and having the option to have a very fast mon with Tailwind is pretty good with the Indeedee together. So I think it's a good trade overall. On the Rampardos Gliscor, I'm not very sure if it's gonna make a big difference there. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought up the Bullet Punch thing too, because that was one of my criticisms during power rankings of putting Scizor on this team. I liked the addition of a Steel type, but yeah, it's awkward when your main damage output is a priority move, and then the main mode on your team is also something that just blocks priority for the whole field. It's a little bit weird. So definitely not surprising to see them drop Scizor as much as I love that Pokemon. All right, moving on. We've got 3 turns sleep. Shannon?
Yeah, So I think this is a overall a good trade. I mean, some might say that dropping Thunderous, Tornadus is an interesting choice. You're losing that prankster, but I think Mousehold, Follow Me, and Redirection ability on this team is really is a good addition, because you're kind of missing that, especially when you have such a Trick Room reliant team. You need that redirector, and they were kind of missing it.
Yeah, definitely. Redirection was definitely something this team would have liked. I think it's strange to drop the Tornadus given how much you invested in this rain mode, but I also suspect maybe they're trying to pivot away from that as well. You know, they might be.
Yeah, I think they still have the Politoed, Archaludon, and Kingdra, so I think that rain team's still around. I think it's almost like they invested too heavily in the rain mode, and now they're having to kind of swap things around.
Yeah, so and that to me is like I would probably expect to see more trades as well from this team. I don't know, because there's only so much you can do in 1 week or one trade cycle. So like getting rid of their entire rain mode wasn't going to happen, but it might start to happen next time. Who knows?
I almost expect some swaps next week.
Yeah. Furat, any thoughts on this one?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that losing Torn is pretty heavy, because you like in the rain it's pretty good because you can like get the rain off with it, with the prankster, and overall it's good in the team in general. But on the other side, you have like more slow mons in general. So maybe like going into the Trick Room side more is good. But can be like good or bad depending on how you want to play with that. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's like a good or a bad trade actually. It depends on how they want to play with it now.
Yeah, like. I think it's also entirely possible they keep the rest of this rain mode, just because maybe they're thinking, like beat up or like population bomb combos with the stamina Archaludon might be strong.
That's good, yeah.
So I'd expect to see something like that at least like once or twice. But you're getting rid of such a massive piece of your speed control, so I'm wondering. I'd still expect some trades, even if they're going to be sticking with the rain mode, because they've got to find some way to get some of that speed control back.
Because now they're like very dependent on the Trick Room mode, I feel like. So
yeah,
they don't have Tailwind anymore, so they have to go like always Trick Room to get stuff off.
Or if they want to go fast, like kind of the only thing they have is like Icy Wind, Politoed. So definitely expecting some more trades from this team, whichever way they go. All right. Next up, Nose Mole Reap. Shannon.
I like this trade. Speaking of top heavy teams, drafting in a U tier with an S tier, I think they kind of realized was a hard choice to make. So they did that Ogerpon, Piloswine into Magmortar Crocodile, trading equal for a fire type for a fire type and a ground type for a ground type. As the other Dialga team in the league, I think they kind of heavily limited themselves by taking that S tier. And so I'm hoping that their next few weeks they'll be trading to kind of shift things around. Now that they have some points to spare.
Yeah, definitely.
Now they traded 70 points for 60.
Yeah.
So they have a few points to throw around, maybe at the Scyther or the Mismagius, or I think Rotomo is actually a pretty good mon for their team. So I think kind of throwing it around to kind of get a couple better mons for what they have, I think is a strong choice. Kind of reevaluating their team.
Yeah, and the those leftover points really are like such a clear indication that this is not the final version of their team, right? Because we've said a bunch of times so far, like, yeah, I expect this team to make more trades moving forward. This team is, it seems to me, it's obvious this team is the most likely to do that moving forward because of those leftover points. And I'm interested to see what their plan is as it unfolds. And I like that they're keeping their types and their roles relatively consistent. Piloswine and Crocodile are not really that different from each other. Ogerpon and Magmortar especially are really not that different from each other, both being redirectors. And you keep the same typings between those. So I think they're keeping the general structure of the team the same while just making it a little bit more balanced. So I think that's fair, especially considering what other future trades they might do.
Yeah, so I also think like with the Piloswine Crocodile trade, now they have like a real one. I would say Piloswine is not like really gonna do a lot of stuff. So now they have like an additional mon, while they also still have their follow me stuff going. So I think it's pretty good trade, and then they also like have more points left for future trades. So yeah, it's pretty good trade, I think.
Yep. All right, moving on to the last one, potatoes. Furat, you're up.
Yeah, so they switched the Slowbro for the Mesprit. So I think it's yeah. So they still have the Trick Room option, of course, but like Slowbro is like a more tanky mon to have like get the Trick Room off, I would say. So as a Trick Room, from a Trick Room perspective, you probably want to have the Slowbro more than the Mesprit. But I think with the Mesprit you can like do different stuff which the Slowbro can't offer, and also like have this fast option to play with. So I think it's an interesting switch, because the Mesprit offers different stuff than the Slowbro. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they want to do with that.
Yeah, I'd agree. It feels mostly like a neutral trade to me. Most of my thoughts are basically what you've already said. Yeah, Slowbro is probably better for the pure Trick Room mode, but Mesprit can still do that and can function in other modes. But they're, still both special attacking psychic types. They're going to be functioning the same way. So not a huge change here. Shannon, any thoughts?
I think they both do similar things. So I mean, I think they're equal. You're getting maybe a little bit more utility, but I think I don't think there's a huge change.
Yeah. All right, so that is all of our transactions. And lastly, we're going to be finishing off with a team interview with the Mediocre Mudkips. So, for our first question here, I figured it would make sense to go back to the beginning, at the beginning of our interview here. You guys are one of our longest-standing teams in the league. Certainly have a long history here, but how did that all start? So how did you guys meet, and what was it like in the early part of the first season, playing and drafting in a new league with a new format, new teammate? What was that all like? Shannon, I'll throw it to you first.
For the most part, we met on a shared server where they were like, somebody wants to do a draft league. I think it was like they did an ad, and they're like anybody, and it was like the role for like people who did battling. And I had done a little bit of VGC before, and they had like their own gym leaders thing, and I had done that, and I had strategized for that with Furat. And so then I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so then because Furat was trying to get a partner, and I think that's when we first kind of started talking, really.
Yeah, I think it was like this. And then like I was like, okay, do you want to play with me in that league? And I was like super hyped because it was the first time I saw a league which plays multi-battle. So I really wanted to participate in that league. And also like played a little bit of Draft League. Just a quick time before that. So I also like played like 1 or 2 Draft Leagues in general. And that was like the first time I played Draft League in general. So I was very hyped about Draft League in general in this time. So yeah. And then like we managed to get a team together and then like started the thing.
Yeah, that's why we were the Sky Pillars our first season, was because that was the server we were in, and that was how he was allowed to advertise for a partner, was to name the Sky Pillars.
Nice. Okay. So that was season 4, I believe. Correct?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah.
It was the first. It was the. I think it was the first season of Sword and Shield.
And so,
Yeah.
So what was that season? That first season, especially the early part. Like, what was that like? Since everything was so new, I know Furat, you were talking about how you were enticed by the new format. Nobody else is playing multi battles. You guys just met each other. You're a new team. You're in a new league together. How did you handle that during like the draft and the first few weeks?
Yeah, so in the beginning I was actually not sure how to like manage the points in general, because like it was pretty new to have this amount of points to make a team about it, and you have to like pick exactly 10 mons and stuff. So it was a little bit difficult in the beginning to
I suggested making a Google Doc or a Google
Sheet.
So that's where we started. And if you ever look at like our sheets or our draft sheets, like our first season looks very different from like the seasons go on, like because we kind of started to figure it out. And so like if you ever look at it, we have first try, where we essentially just kind of listed out what the tiers were, what they did, and then kind of then based on it we figured out, we looked at all the good Pokemon, then put them out what they did, and then the next sheet was us figuring out which ones we wanted from that, and then also looking at what people had drafted. And then from like season 2 onward, we kind of start to put more into it of like, we know what we want, so it becomes more bare bones.
Yeah, in the beginning we had to like make like a very big sheet to like know what is good, what's not good, what the monster actually can do and stuff. Also because of the difference in the normal VGC mons, because they sometimes have like follow me stuff, which they sometimes don't have in the normal game and stuff. So we have like, also to figure that out. Yeah.
Ally is famously the reason.
Ally Switch fails. Yeah.
Ally Switch was the reason he let me draft Golurk, and then we found out after we drafted that Ally Switch doesn't work in multi battle.
Oh no. Yeah, those follow me Pokemon can kind of like, if you're not used to the transfer moves that we were playing back when transfer moves existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like if you're not used to that, it can get kind of weird, because Man, we were using Follow Me, Magmar, and Electabuzz before anybody else, because
Follow
you
Me
used to be.
Riolu was ours. I
Oh
remember
yeah,
our
yeah,
Yeah.
Rest in peace,
Blastoise and
Follow Me
Mr. Mime.
Riolu. It was Follow Me coaching Riolu. It was dope.
Yeah, yeah, that one was definitely a fun combo. So let's move on from just the beginning of your league history and move into the rest of it, because you guys have been very consistent with us playing every season since you joined up. So what are some of your personal favorite moments from MBC history? Could be about your team or anybody else. Furat, I'll throw it to you first.
Yes, so there are like, of course, many moments which were like pretty fun, but I think in the first season we had like a lot of cool moments where we were able to Dynamax and stuff. So when we were able to Dynamax Golok and then like go wild with him, it was pretty fun to have those moments with him. I think especially I can remember that moment where we played against Rural Jurors, and then like had safety goggles on it. Yeah, and then like we were able to like kill everything. It was pretty fun. I remember that from my head right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that one I remember that one too. That was pretty devastating. It was you guys were relying pretty heavily on your Dynamax Golurk, and yeah, the safety goggles just let it do whatever it want, because the main tool they were trying to use to stop it was that Butterfree. So yeah, really
exactly.
Yeah. Shannon, what about you?
I mean, obviously, the Golurk moments are my favorite. I mean, I've been an ardent supporter of Golurk throughout the years. I'm still devastated that he didn't get re-tiered because Tenfert did let me have him. But I think a lot of it is I mean, our first season was such a highlight, and it's hard now with this new game. Terra makes things so much more complicated. So I have definitely fondness for Sword and Shield. Even though Terra is cool, it's not the same. But so I mean, like I mean, Golurk's my boy. I loved the kind of stuff we used to do with the coaching, coaching Riolu into powered Golurk. I'm trying to think. We had some fun stuff this season too. Dialga's fun, but he's not my Golurk boy. But
oh, we'll talk about him too for sure. Yeah, I definitely kind of miss Dynamax as well. You know, Terra has its own fun quirks, but yeah, I was definitely a Dynamax boy. And you guys, for those not aware, yeah, your first season back when you were still the Sky Pillars, you had a very, very successful season, made it all the way to finals that season. So for anybody not aware of that,
I would like to say we kind of started the trend of the top heavy team. Because that season we picked 2 S tiers, and then we showed it. We famously were ranked, I think, 16 out of like 20, and then we got second, and everybody was like, "Wait, 2 S tiers can work."
Yeah, we were kind of skeptical of the top heaviness at the time, and had to sort of readjust over time, because you guys ended up doing really well that season. All right. Moving on here, so let's talk draft more specifically. So we've gotten done with our history stuff. So what is your usual approach to the draft, specifically in MBC, and how would you say that played out for you guys in this season's draft? Shannon, I'll throw it to you first.
So usually at the beginning of a draft, we'll look at all the available Pokemon, and see kind of where they are in tiers. And usually it's Furat first, because I'm either busy or I'm like, I don't know. I tend to be a little more iffy. So he'll usually start by putting out Pokemon that he thinks are valuable, and that are good for their tier. And then we'll put those down, and then I'll take a look at the list and add my own additions. And then we'll put those in. We'll put them according to tier. And then Spades also came in now that he's a part of our team, and he did his own little list. Then we did a little point. We have a little point calculator, and then I'll take that list and I'll reformat it into usually what it does. And it's typing, so I'll take them. I'll list all the A tiers, and if you look at like I put a season 9 reformatted. It'll show its tier, its typing, and then like what it does. So I have like Clefairy, for example, which we picked as A tier, Fairy, Follow Me, Friend Guard, Eviolite, and then I'll put those are on different lines. Or Milotic is Water, Marvel Scale, Coil, Hypnosis, Special. And I'll do that for various Pokemon that we think are pretty good. And then what we'll do is we'll start by deciding, usually we'll go based on our S tier, or in this case our U tier. And we'll say we were debating that for a while. So this season we did it based on our A tiers, I think, didn't we, for it?
So we tried to figure out which A tiers are good actually, and based that on that decision, what if we pick an U tier or an S tier, and which one exactly as well. We base it off on the A tiers actually, not on the S.
Yeah, it
and
depends
U
on the
tiers.
season.
Yeah.
But this season, because we were going to do a U tier, we would decide to pick it later. And so then, based on what A tiers or S tiers we can get, we'll say, okay, so this is what we have, and we want to build a team that supports those the members of our team. So we'll say, okay, so Clefairy, we already have our Follow Me user, so what are we going to need to enable that Follow Me? And we say, okay, so in order to do that, we want to have someone who can benefit from that Follow Me, so a Coil, Hypnosis, Milotic is great there. And then we need speed control, so we went with Kilowattrel, because it's a good sorry, for those who don't know, I'm sick. It's got a good offensive presence, and it has Tailwind, and we'd used it previous seasons, so. And then of course, because of those two things, we said, well, we could do Discharge. We could do Disquake, so then we started looking at Garchomp.
Yeah, so we also, in general, we first go with what is good in each tier. Like if we see like which mons are, in our opinion, high value in each tier, and then like based off that, we try to make a team which has the best mons, let's say, in each tier, like which we think are the best mons in each tier, and then like we try to figure out a team together with them and what looks the best for us. And this time we base this on the A tiers, not on the other tiers. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's good to get some insight into the mega sheet there. And I like that. I like the initial Clefairy pick first too, as that first A tier you guys are talking about, especially because like if you're planning to pick up a U tier, and you want to do so later, Clefairy's actually pretty good for doing that, because you're gonna end up being able to pair it with all kinds of different big legendary Pokemon, especially since there's so many dragons.
Yeah, that was the plan actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And speaking of the U tier, that leads us into our next question here. So there's been a lot of talk about the U tier going into this draft. Of course, we were trying to figure out whether we were going to have a U tier at all. A lot of people also had a lot of different perspectives on like which Pokemon out of that tier were going to be the strongest, and a lot of people had a lot of opinions that I found surprising actually, and even the Pokemon that got drafted from the U tier were surprising. So that's a very interesting topic to me. So like, I want to know, what was your perspective on that tier going into this season's draft, especially because you picked Dialga. So which U tier Pokemon, even aside from Dialga, do you think may have been the strongest, or maybe even ban-worthy? And what ultimately motivated you to pick that Dialga? So, Furat, I'll throw it to you first.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't think that any of the U-tiers which are now in the end available to pick up are ban-worthy, I would say. I often go sometimes biased when it comes to like banning or not, and I like to ban stuff which I don't like in general, which I would never pick up. So I'm sometimes a little bit biased when I ban something. So it's not always when I think it's like too strong or not. So
Let me see if I can't get some of the. Look, the amount of shit talking about the about the ban list was obscene in our group chat. It was like clearly these people have never played VGC before, or clearly these people have never played multi-battles before. And they'd be like, why are they banning this?
Like for example, like Eternatus and Ho, we just ban them because we don't want to pick them. That's basically our reason for. I don't think like Eternatus or Ho would be too broken to be in the U tiers, for example. If you would ask me like from the strength perspective.
Yeah,
I don't think they're like, maybe like Eternatus you could argue a little bit more, but
I'm kind of the opposite perspective. Ho-Oh I understand a little bit more. Eternatus I feel like is totally fine, especially because it seemed
actually, okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, to me it seemed like people were mostly worried about like cosmic power boosting, and that in multi battles with no your time,
yeah.
like kind of just seems like you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're gonna do that with Eternatus. So like I'm pretty skeptical of that. If there are other reasons out there, you know, I'm willing to hear them out. But that was definitely something I was interested to see, like, you know, what people are gonna do with it. Is anybody gonna pick it? But didn't get to see that at all, unfortunately.
I think one of my problems, and I've said this previously, I think when we were talking about the way we do voting, is that because a lot of these people are newer and they don't have experience in multi-battle, they're just doing kind of what they think is going to be good based on VGC. And I don't think a lot of people take into account how multi-battle affects things. Or that they just they're like, I hate this Pokemon, I don't want it here. And because it is ruled by mob, people are just gonna pick, and they're gonna be like, well, it seems like everybody's picking this, I might as well go with it. And I think a lot of the nomination stuff is kind of everybody. I mean, in some cases,
bias.
people are like,
a lot of bias, of course. Yeah, I would say. Like,
so I was like,
tend to like ban stuff which they don't like to see or like don't want to pick themselves, which me included, of course. I'm not like judging that, because I also do that on myself. So
yeah,
but that's how it is, I think.
That's fair. You're always gonna need to deal with that to some degree when people are discussing and voting on something.
Yeah, I just think in general, U-tiers, the U-tier situation, I could take or leave. I really like when we have U-tiers because it makes the seasons unique, but then again, my favorite season, our first season here, was no U-tiers. But I think to an extent, when U-tiers are this cheap, it's kind of hard not to. When we had the U+ tier, it seemed like a good idea, but I would argue just having a general dump all for like all U tiers, and man, like, they're all equal. There's some that are really good, some in here, there's some that are bad. They're all 180 points.
Yeah, and there have been times in the league's history when we have done that, and the result is sort of what you'd expect. The lower power picks in the U tier just never get picked. Some of the powerful ones do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, that was sort of the issue I was trying to avoid with the structure of the U tier this season. So that part of it at least seems to be working out somewhat well. I think.
Yeah, I think part of one of my other issues was because the way we'd set up the votes, the people who had voted for no U tiers ended up just trying to ban all U tiers via the list, and I was like, this defeats the purpose of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least there didn't seem to be enough people doing that to sway a lot of the votes, because most of those possible U tiers that we were voting on still didn't get banned. A few of them did, but most are still in. So I think it went well overall, all things considered. There's always going to be some bumps in the road when you're trying to figure something out as a large group. So. So what about this Dialga of yours? What motivated you to pick that? Why not a different U tier?
Yeah, I want to go back to that question. Yeah.
There was much debate.
We had to talk about it a lot, so to figure out, because the idea was actually our plan in the draft was that we pick our A tiers first, and everything surrounding the UTs we were thinking about to pick, and then let the draft actually decide which U tier we are going to pick, because we were okay if we had 3, I think, U tiers in mind, and then we were okay, we just picked that one which is left from the 3 until that point. We said we gonna pick it in the 5th round, I think. We picked the Alga as well in the 5th round, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we were okay, we gonna check which of the 3 is going to be left, and we were sure that we will at least get one of them.
Yeah. And then once it came to them all being available, we were kind of oh shoot.
Yeah, all 3 were actually available. Yeah.
So we kind of we had to do okay, so what fits best? We were well, if we do Solgaleo Duskmane, that means we have to commit to Trick Room. So then we kind of were okay, so we don't want to fully commit to Trick Room, so that means that one's out. And then it was well, we could do regular Solgaleo, and they're but that's, and then Furat was that's kind of basic.
Yeah, it was too boring in my experience. Yeah.
And then they were all right, Kyurem White. We were oh, Kyurem White might do it, and then we're meh, Kyurem White isn't as good. So then we were stuck between Dialga and Reshiram, and then it was
yeah, I wanted to play Reshiram because I like that one in general.
But then I was but we have Garchomp, it makes no sense to have a fire type next to Garchomp when Torterra has telepathy, and we can just kind of
I mean, it was before we picked the Garchomp.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But we figured out that the plan was the Reshiram doesn't work well with the A tiers, and then I had to throw that plan away. Yeah, and then we picked the Dialga. So yeah, that was the plan actually.
Well, between the Reshiram and the Dialga, I definitely think you guys made the right choice there. I think Zekrom and Reshiram, I think, are a little bit lackluster for the tier. They might even you maybe even could plop them into S tier. I don't know. But yeah, Dialga I think is cool.
So? Wow, okay. Actually, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I think Reshiram was pretty strong.
Reshiram maybe is more fitting for a U tier slot. Somebody recently, I can't remember who it was. Somebody in the server said something about well, you could pick Zekrom as a U tier, or you could just pick Raging Bolt, which is maybe a better Pokemon overall and is in a lower tier. So that kind of that had me scratching my head. I found that.
I mean, Zekrom is bad. I agree on that. But not on Reshiram. Actually, I think there's a big gap between them.
But yeah, okay, I think, and then kind of Dialga's whole shtick is kind of very similar to that kind of big bulky mon that I like, so it made sense for me to pick it. So.
Yeah, which is also nice with Clefairy, so that's cool. And
yeah, I like the one with the Clefairy. Yeah, that was also a very good point in the end.
Dragon Steel is also just
a good argument for it.
Yeah, definitely. Dragon Steel is also just one of the best typings in the game, so that's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move into some of your games this season. So we've we've covered the draft a bit, so let's talk about some match prep this season. So, what piece of your own match prep so far this season have you been most proud of? And what piece of match prep were you most impressed by from one of your opponents? I'll throw it to Furat first.
So I think our first match was actually good prepared. So we were like, okay, we can deal with the most stuff with Dialga and Kilowattrel if we have the speed control, because it's harder for them to get like the speed control going in general. So we had like a very good control over the entire match in general, and they couldn't do much against it. So I think that the first match against Dirty, I forgot the name. Sorry, Dirty 30s.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Dirty 30s.
Yeah. So
it was funny that they didn't know they could use the voice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course, it was like also they handicapped themselves, I would say. But
Week one hiccups.
Yeah.
So what about what about your opponents? What match prep have you liked to see from one of your opponents this season?
Well, the last two matches is going to be different for us because the last two matches we haven't been able to play together for different reasons. Like,
yeah.
So it's been rough for us because part of our like our strength is our chemistry. So it's been rough, but.
Gotcha,
yeah. So I think the last one where you played against the Pixies, they prepped well and bring those weird stuff which we were not expecting to come when we were prepping the match. So they figured out pretty good stuff, I would say.
That's Solosis, man. Yeah. Shannon, what about you? Favorite?
I mean, the football is hilarious. The football was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that was because we were discussing that we threw that match because we should have protected, but or Space was like, I should have protected. We would have had that easy. But the football, I was like, we had deleted it so easily the first, or it was either the first or the second game. So then when it came back, I was like, we didn't even know what was on it. So it was like,
yeah, he's so
I
tiny.
was sad when I watched the game. I was pretty sad. What happened there?
So Shannon, what about your favorite piece of your own match prep this season?
I think the anti-trick room Dialga was hilarious. Where I think was it the
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, where we kept just like it was like fighting over trick room for like a good like 5 minutes of just me turning on trick room, then turning it off, they turn it off. Because most people see Dialga and they expect us to set up trick room. But the reality is, even though he's slow for an S tier, he's middling speed for most Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean you can use him either way for sure. Definitely a strength of Dialga in draft.
Especially when we have Kilowattrel setting up Tailwind for us. So it's kind of one of those things where most people expect us to try and set some hard trick room, and then we kind of just are like, no, we're just gonna speed ourselves up and just blow you up. We don't need an extra turn.
Yeah, I love having that option too. Good fast Tailwind user for Dialga. Okay, so let's see. What about so you guys are in the Violet division. I wondered if you've taken any looks at the teams from the Scarlet division. Obviously, you're playing everybody in your own division. That's a given. You're also going to be playing somebody from the opposite division in the last week, in the cross division week, and of course, totally possible you can be matched up with somebody from a different division in the playoffs. So, for you guys, which Scarlet division team would you most like to play against at some point this season, and why? I'll go to Shannon first.
I mean, people who I'm going to say I think the Cinnabons are going to be in the finals, so that's going to be my saying. I'm pretty sure we're going to be facing them in the if we make it to the finals, we'll be facing them. But I like playing as the potatoes because they're so fun.
Excellent. Furat?
I actually would like to play the Poker Uncles because I like to play against Anthony, and like I hope we can defeat them.
Excellent.
Yeah, Anthony's banter is great.
Yeah.
We used to be way more vocal, and I'm kind of sad about it. People in the league, they did not realize that we were messing with. Who was it we were messing with? I think it was Anthony, and they were like, "Why are you being so mean?"
Yeah, we will. Yeah, in the chat. Yeah.
Those definitely sound like fun games. Bold prediction to place the Cinnabons in finals. They're definitely one of the strongest teams.
I said at least semifinals. I think they're there.
Yeah.
The Cinnabons. I don't think I've ever seen a season where they didn't make playoffs.
Yeah, true. They're definitely very strong. Would not be surprised to see them make finals. That's for sure. But we've got a whole field of 20 teams. This is gonna be a difficult season.
Yeah.
All right. Last question here. So this season, as I said, 20 teams, big season, big league this season. A lot of players. I think we have over 50 players with us this time. And a lot of them are new to the league. Certainly not new to Pokemon, competitive Pokemon. Certainly not new to VGC. But multi battles are a little bit different. They've got their own quirks, even though largely they are similar to double battles. So, what advice or tips for success do you think you would have for players who are new to MBC, new to multi battles? But they do have that VGC background. What kind of advice would you give to a player like that? Furat?
That's a good question. Of course, you could talk hours for that and explain stuff. But if you want to cut it into short stuff, I would say first that you have to figure out that playing on 6 versus 6 is very different than playing 4 versus 4, of course. And also one big part is the Terra in this season, because it gets a lot of more stuff chaotic when you have 2 mons which can Terra, which is also very unfamiliar with the normal VGC rules, and also the side aspect, which you can't switch your mons other than 2 mons in that each player has in his back. So those are the most critical stuff, I would say, which is very different to the normal VGC rules, which you have to play around and figure out how to get the best out of your mons with that playing field. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I think the other thing you have to talk about
points,
is the importance of balance between the two sides. Because
that too, yeah.
We're in VGC where you can swap whatever side you want. One of the strongest strategies in this league is targeting down one side. So if you have all of your weaker mons on one side, you end up playing a 1v2, and I think that's something people tend to forget.
Yeah, and also timer I forgot about. So you have to keep timer on your mind. Also in the last game we also had the pain to lose to timer, while we were actually in a big advantage where we were 2 versus 1, so they had only one side, but we lost because of the timer. So we had 2 mons and they had 3 mons, but one side was down. And we were going to win, but then with the timer, we still lost. So you have to have this in mind when you are playing.
Yeah, I think those are all really good points, and they're all things that especially not being able to switch sides and the timer. Those are things that I think if you're coming in without multi-battle knowledge, you might underestimate the the impact that those things are actually going to have on the game, because you gotta you gotta move the game fast. It's if you're prepping some kind of stall strategy, the timer is going to be a problem, especially if you're going up against experienced multi-battle players who know how to manipulate the timer and when to manipulate the timer. And the two different sides thing is crucial too, because I think in my opinion, the most important thing that Shannon said just now is that if your sides are imbalanced, and it's going to be too easy for one side to get completely blown up, and if you find yourself in a 1v2 situation, that's usually really catastrophic. So you got to be mindful of that too, for sure. Follow me is a big part of what's going to help people manage their sides.
When you see Furat and I battling, there's a lot of switching out because you don't have the option to kind of just swap out from both pools of teams. You have to do a lot of repositioning that is not as common in VGC.
Yeah, positioning is so much harder when you're dealing with that kind of constraint. For sure.
It's more like you're playing a board game than you usually are used to. Like you're playing like a little bit more on which mon has to be on which side at which moment, and also which mons work together well, which you have to have on each side. For example, we play like Garchomp and Kilowattrel, and we want to have them on each side to like get the Discquake off. So you already have like something set on which side is going to be each mon, and then you have to like figure out the rest of your team, how you're gonna split them off, and that's not easy to manage all the time. And you also have to like think about what you are playing against at the same time, and how you are gonna get the most advantage out of it.
Yeah, it's a weird part of prep. I remember that when I was new to multi-battles, it's a weird part of prep, trying to figure out like what goes on what side. Like, does it even matter? Sometimes it's clear that it matters, but sometimes it's not, and you're like, I don't know, which side to put these two things on. It's not obvious that this needs to work with that, or so it can be kind of a crapshoot until you figure out more what you're doing.
Yeah, and especially because like you obviously want your follow me user opposite your strongest Pokemon, but at the same time, no matter how bulky your follow me user is, if it's taking both of their A or S tiers or one of their U tiers, it's going down. So you have to be consistent about also keeping some kind of bulky or offensive pressure on that side, so that side doesn't end up being left without a Pokemon. And so when you don't have the ability to switch who your follow me user is next to, you have to essentially decide which of your Pokemon has a higher priority of needing follow me.
It's especially important, like when you've got a side with like more support and bulk like that. I do think what you said is important about like making sure you have some bulk after the follow me user goes down, to make sure that side doesn't just get obliterated too quick. But it's also important to kind of distribute your damage output between the two sides as well, because you don't want to be stuck in a position where you're like, oh shit, all I have left is a side full of support Pokemon because they destroyed all of our heavy hitters. So that's not so good either. So that's something to keep in mind when you're balancing the sides.
So we try and I think our agreement was we always kind of keep our two bulkiest mons. So that's for us right now. That's Dialga and Milotic on opposite sides. In case Milotic needs to enable Dialga or one of the other heavy hitters.
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes you have to mix that up to adjust it to the opponent. So even then, sometimes you have to like change that. We changed it for like one match, I believe, because we felt like that it was needed. So even then, you have to like sometimes adjust stuff. You can't like, also you want to be like flexible with stuff, because then your opponent's gonna figure out, or you always play this on this side and you always play that on that side, so we can take advantage of that.
I mean,
so that's also like something you have to consider.
Yeah, in VGC you kind of have to have a Swiss Army knife with Pokemon, whereas where it's like you have to have Pokemon that are applicable for a lot of different teams. But in
Point of pickle, I am not that involved.
okay, in VGC you have or in draft leagues and multi-battle specifically, you know what you're going up against. So the name of the game is either surprising your opponents or preparing for them so well that they can't make them, or they can't take your team down. So it's a lot of kind of figuring out what your opponent's going to try and hit with you with and countering that. And that's why a lot of these these weird kind of sets and surprises work so well.
Draft definitely gets weird sometimes, that's for sure, but that's why we love it. All right. Well, that's all the interview questions I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming on, doing this with me, helping us out with all the. Thank you again to Shannon for the list of highlights. Thanks again for analyzing all those transactions with us. We had a good time with you guys here for this one. So thanks again to the Mediocre Mudkips for that. For the rest of the league, for everybody watching, the next piece of content that you can look out for will be some mid-season power rankings coming sometime in the next few weeks. So that'll be the next piece of MBC content coming. So until then, I am Matt. I am signing off, and I will see you guys in the server. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for having us. Ciao, ciao.